used to love picking this Riven up, especially last season as well. Now we see the Gragas, a bit of isolation play for the support here of Zero, which is one of his favorite champions and most successful champions so far as he transitioned from mid lane to support.
Yeah, KT.RY as well, going into these picks thus far, it's actually really good, right? Because the thing is, Corki coming in, they have already secured their AP damage dealer, and they also have support. Now NAOS Esports now has to focus in banning away the likes of Varus, banning away possibility of removing the likes of Ezreal as well, because in the past, it has been seen to be a good 1v1 champion to go up against a Lucian for that safety, but instead locks in and bans away the Yasuo instead.
Ooh, interesting ban actually on the Yasuo. Wonder what they are reading towards KT.RY as of this moment. At most, there is a lot of synergy, especially with the Gragas on the explosive cast. Zoe gonna be banned away just in case that Mirmo would opt to pick this champion up, especially that the bursting is really high on the side of NAOS Esports as of the moment. They pick up the Lucian, they pick up the Riven. All they need is something that can allow the burst to actually happen.
Oh, wow.
Mitsuru back on the Galio mid? Is this gonna be it?
I was actually thinking about it, but instead of Galio, I was thinking about Ornn, because they banned away the Yasuo, and Yasuo was, as we all know, is a counter onto Ornn. But I did not expect the Galio and the Nautilus to be locked in. So yeah, a double support for the side of NAOS. It's going to be an interesting show that we have for the day.
KT.RY though is just gonna go standard. Use what is working mostly on our matches back in the regular season. Double pokes work so well to cripple down all those front lines and then go for the isolation play. Of course, with the Kha'Zix as a finisher. This is very scary, to be honest, coming from KT.RY. They have so many ways to win fights and skirmishes.
Yeah. So right now, expectedly, with how the draft is currently going, right? Ezreal will go up against Lucian at this point into the bottom lane, with Corki going to the mid. And for the side of NAOS Esports, with Galio being locked in as well, this will go into the mid lane. So the bottom lane will be Ashe Mirmo. This is the champion of Mirmo that just got them so much wins back in Season 1.
This is very reminiscent indeed of Season 1. Mirmo introducing a great start, a great hello, a greeting towards everyone that doesn't ban Ashe. And after that, it was consistently banned. And now he gets his hands on the Ashe once again. Nautilus in the jungle as well will allow them to have so much suppression and burst.
We're back into that meta. We're back into the Nautilus jungle.
We're back
the thing is, in the past, it was so strong because you have like the Sunfire Aegis that could deal like extra damage onto these monsters, gets you extra clear. You have the AP Nautilus as well going into the jungle. It was a staple before, but not anymore. But now Esports is bringing it back once again.
Let's see if this is gonna be enough. If the surprise picks of NAOS Esports, if history will again be on their side this time around for NAOS Esports. It's a question, of course, because KT is going standard. They have a strong foundation already on this composition. This is the first match since the short break that we had after the transition from regular season to now the playoffs. Let's see who is going to be getting the first momentum.
What an absolute blast. We're jumping into game number 1 here from here on forward. So right now, KT.RY, what they could do is pressure in onto Nautilus, pressure in onto those early games. And I think that will be important for Mitsuru to be able to support Fate coming into these jungles, coming into what KT.RY could do. Because expectedly, NAOS Esports at level 1 cannot do nothing. They have to wait at level 3 for Fate to be able to go and pay a visit into the mid lane, other lanes as well, because of the potential that Nautilus has when it comes to early game. One of the strongest early game supports in the game. So that could be expected, and they have to utilize that level 3, level 5. And I think we all know Corki and Ezreal. These two champions innately has very mobile skill set that could give them potential to survive a lot of those ganks. So
they have like ridiculous damage too in the late game.
Yeah, yeah, definitely is. So I think that is the positive side that we're gonna look at for KT.RY's draft. Right, they don't need the most amount of CCs. It's a disadvantage for them. But given the draft that they have, it's going to be something that they can utilize when it comes to the damage category up against NAOS.
Possibly KT.RY is just gonna be attempting to do what works for them. Set up early momentum for themselves, possibly focus on the Herald just like we saw on the stats, transition into a tower, allow the power spikes to happen faster on their side so that they can start taking control and prevent the scaling of NAOS Esports. Divide and Conquer might be a key for their victory as well, since NAOS Esports looks to be very, very scary when they are grouped up, especially with the lots of CC that they do possess. But it's gonna take a while. I think early game is just gonna be a little bit more silent than usual. Double ADCs aren't really the ones that possess the enough damage at the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and right now, looking at it, we have a visit coming from Daw.
Great Shield of Duran coming in from Margo, actually suppressing them by so much! Zero might be in a lot of trouble this time around, and the damage will be there. Mirmo getting first blood.
And what have we mentioned a while ago, right? NAOS Esports has to wait for level 3, because that is when Nautilus has access to each and every single one of his skills, and that has happened, right? We have Fade paying a visit coming into the bottom lane that netted them the first blood. And the thing and the reason why this composition could work is because they also have Lucian, they also have Ashe. Right, Lucian alleviates the disadvantage that they have coming into the early game of this matchup because they have the double support composition. Now Fate, when it comes to the early game, will not have the damage. Will never have enough damage coming into the early game. So they have, or they need someone that could alleviate the disadvantage coming into this stage of the game, wherein they have strong CCs that alleviates the lack in damage. They have Lucian that could also alleviate that lack in damage coming into the early game. So overall, this is the reason why NAOS has this composition and why it works.
Wow, flash into the depth charge already towards Zero, and again, just the CC to top it all off. Another kill is gonna be gifted towards NAOS Esports. This time, Margo gets it.
Right, so much CC is built into this composition, and I remember one of the strategies or one of the metas that has been revolving currently in the meta from one of the coaches that we have here in the APAC teams is that team fighting is already the key.
And team fighting is what NAOS Esports want every single time. 3 minutes, 3 kills already, Infinity, and they're not done. Acrobat, it's gonna be taunted a little bit into the slow, into the knock-up as well. One more auto attack should do the trick. Great dodge though by Mirmo, denying the comeback.
What a play coming from NAOS Esports. Like, this early game really is something that they want.
Great dodge with the Hextech Ultimatum. Calm is trying to block some of the damage though with the shield. Unable to get the kill towards Bretel, but at least they weren't punished. KT.RY though trying to step up a little bit, trying to answer back, trying to get a slight momentum shift towards their side. But so far, unsuccessful with it.
Yeah, unsuccessful with it, but thus far coming into these stages, right? Mirmo, if you're giving him the Ashe, expect these long-range engages to really connect every single time. This is what made Mirmo have the title of like the Ashe Curry, or the, that's like the Ashe random titles with those shots with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. It's just perfect.
Always perfect, and perfectly timed as well, catching anyone actually as his target off guard. And this time KT.RY has to be very, very careful, very cautious of their environment, very cautious of their surroundings, because every single time that this Ashe Arrow is available, Mirmo will not hesitate using it effectively. So far, NAOS Esports untouched. The early game that KT.RY wanted is denied. Bottom lane though, they are going to be attempting great slow to Barrage as well, and the Kazakhs will secure a kill.
That was good. That was good coming from KT.RY. They needed that, because the thing is, if Acrobat is left alone coming into the bottom lane with no kills, it will just be a priority by NAOS Esports all throughout the laning phase. So they needed that kill. And right now, Dragon being started though.
And they will take it very swiftly as well, Infinity. And take note, KT.RY hasn't started with the Rift Herald just yet. Finally, it is going to be Ratel that starts it up alongside with Do, but NAOS Esports can actually interfere. They can interrupt. Cobb is going to be entering, flashing it as well with the Bleed of Exile. Cat's going to be used to try and isolate them, but a Hero's Enter is just there. And again, the suppression is just sealed. NAOS Esports said thank you for the leash, and thank you as well for the cleanup.
They got it. It was just so good, because the thing is, This is it. The crowd control of NAOS Esports' draft is too much. It's so good.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And the thing about KT.RY on what they have to do here is to play towards the late game.
Oh man, but it's gonna be so difficult to manage towards the late game because so many things are just keeps on happening right now, favoring NAOS Esports. We see 3,000 now.
Yeah, and looking back at it, it was a good, pretty much setup play that Calm did there for Margo to come through. And the Shield of Duran connecting onto 3 was pretty much the tide changer along with the hero's entrance. So Margo, tipping my hats off to you coming in from that team fight. It was just pinpoint perfect.
Perfect setup, perfect timing as well, and great reading against KT.RY. And this is one way to step up, especially after their last experience against KT.RY. The last time that they have met, it has been 2 games of one-sided beatdown coming in from KT.RY against NAOS Esports. Right now, they seem to have the better end, at least in the early parts of this game.
Yeah, and NAOS Esports, I like what they're showing, right? When it comes to the dominance, what they're doing here is that they're having so much control over the bottom quadrant jungle. Because the thing is, they could now get that tier 1 turret into the bottom lane. If they get this, they have a priority onto the Ocean Drake, which they definitely want. And now Enchanted Crystal Arrow connects, but it's too far ahead.
Too far ahead. No minions as well to crash in the tower. And it's just risky to dive either way. But this time, KT is the one to initiate. Not to miss target though, because it's Margo. This is a very tanky gal, but they're still going to be successful with it. That's 1 kill, no trade backs.
Yeah, a little bit of an overextension there. And this is what we're saying when it comes to isolation. Gragas could do it. And this is one of the advantages of KT.RY, right? They have the possibility of isolation with the explosive cast. Could be used for disengage as well. And they also have Camille. So expect that later on.
Expect a possible engage as well. Zero overcommitting and will give his life for it as a bill on that. This time, NAOS Esports unable to get that grab with an Nautilus hook. But at least they got that 1 kill.
And you mentioned it, the overcommitment coming in from Zero into the hills, going in for the flash body slam. The body slam, I don't even think connected onto the opposition there for the side of NAOS Esports. It was a positional advantage for NAOS that they were able to utilize. And overall, KT.RY just has to pay the price.
Great dodge coming from Dune as well. Had it connected, it would have been another kill by NAOS Esports. But so far, aside from the kills, NAOS Esports are getting structures as well. They have taken 2 towers already. 1 in the mid lane, 1 in the bottom lane. Top lane is going to be next unless KT.RY is going to be able to do something here against Calm.
Calm?
When slash away, it will just clear the wave.
Yeah, currently there's no vision onto the Tribrush, so good patience there and good discipline coming from the side of Calm, not overcommitting into that engage, going in for that fight. But right now, NAOS Esports will shadow the top side of the map, given the fact that it is the only tier 1 turret left for the side of KT.RY. If they want to snowball this will be their next target.
And if they don't find any targets here against NAOS Esports, NAOS will just keep on applying the pressure. They are very comfortable with the state already. They have so many front lines, so many people to provide for their allies. And again, no hesitation at all to just engage. But this time around, they might need to disengage because not just going to be here. Margo still has the hero's exit, but Mitsur is going to be the next target for the Hextech Ultimatum. Going to be denied from the disengage. And another kill coming in from KT.RY. Calm being so late into the fight. And KT.RY found their opening.
Yeah, we've mentioned this, right? We still have to pay the respects on turret cell because that Camille could gain access into the back lines, and that they did. And the thing is, now Esports overextended a bit onto the left quadrant jungle, wherein they cannot fight back. Because the thing is, their composition is heavily going towards the front to back type of playstyle, wherein one follows through possibility of Calm or even Fate going for that initial engage, and then you have Margo following up. You have Ashe following through. But that did not happen. KT.RY got a loophole and they utilized that.
And it was just maybe not the best opening because the setup of Margo was just a little off.
Yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. I think Fate, expectedly, what they wanted is to have the drench line connected onto one of the opposing members, but it connected onto the hills, which gave them a positional disadvantage, and then Margo wasn't able to go for the hero's entrance, right? So that is the really unfortunate part about this composition. They're heavily relying towards their ultimates. They're heavily relying onto those team fights, where KT.RY could just play it patiently.
And since they are already successful at bouncing back from a 4,000 gold deficit, now turned into a 1,000 gold lead, this is a great transition by KT.RY to now continue to scale up. 2 items picked up by both of their ADCs. Their damage is gonna start to hurt. NAOS Esports will now start to hesitate going in.
Yeah, and this is what we have predicted a while ago. Like, KT.RY still can win the game. It's not over until it's over.
Yeah.
Like, KT.RY could double down when it comes to the late game. Ezreal has very, very strong scaling. And Corki has power scaling as well, coming into this game, coming into their composition innately. So they have to just commit to that.
They need to find answers as well towards the Camille. Late game scaling, Camille does get the upper hand against the Riven, and now Esports might need to start sending 2 people instead of 1. But that will open up more possibilities for KT.RY to make plays around the map. Now, with their lead, they are just very comfortable to pressure down into the mid lane, allow no one to interfere, and just allow as well Rattel to keep on pushing in the bottom lane. There's the Justice Punch. Fate gonna be in a lot of trouble here. And it's gonna be used as well. A little bit of an overextension coming in from KT.RY. There's gonna be traded off as the rest is just falling back, but not allowed by NAOS Esports at all. Rattel hook shot away, flashing in as well just to be able to be safe. Mitsura trying to follow up, calm as well, but unable to reach him in time. And KT will be able to save at least some of their HP on the other members.
That was so good coming from Margo. The utilization of the hero's entrance gave the magic shield onto Fate that kept him alive. And right after that, you have Calm following through with a stun. It was so good.
Can they secure a steal? The answer is no. NAOS Esports don't want to get it. Rattel has to flee this time around, but the teleport is going to be incoming. Will they commit? Looks like they are interested. NAOS Esports will be allowed to escape this time. Mitsura very close from dying there with the true shot barrage.
Within inches of death there, it was so close. But thus far, with the Baron's buff, with the Baron's recall, they were able to go back and reset quite fast and quite swiftly into that engage. But overall, it was a really, really good setup and plan there coming from NAOS Esports. They forced the engage, they forced the issue. They have the tier 1 turret coming into the top side of the map, and they have the tier 1 into the mid lane, which nets them a huge priority onto the Baron on an even level playing field up against KT.RY, right? So it was just really good coming in from that. They pushed away KT.RY, they broke loose the jungler, and they got the Baron.
You know what, Infinity? I like how close this game is despite the many things that happened over the course of 13 minutes. Both of these are really trying hard to regain control back in their favor, to punish some of the mistakes that their opponent is making. We see constant arrows being thrown out by Mirmo, constant engages coming in from Margo as well. The same is replicated on the side of Do and Zero, especially with the positioning of Rattel, always trying to get a weak spot exposed here towards the side of NAOS Esports. Now with the Baron though, they're able to push at least a tower here into the bottom lane, possibly into the mid lane as well, because they are grouping up there.
Yeah, but the thing is, KT.RY need not to be able to force that engage, need not to force the issue. Once again, their winning condition is to wait patiently, wait for their Corki, wait for their Ezreal to be able to scale into a point wherein they deal so much poke damage, wherein NAOS Esports could not just go into a team fight without any luck into... Oh my god.
Stasis is gonna be used. Hero's entrance as well. There is an arrow incoming, and Rattel will be pinned down to the ground, able to still sustain so much with the shield and adaptive defenses. NAOS Esports will not be successful with it.
Oh, it was really unfortunate because that was 2 ultimates burned away by KT.RY. Now NAOS Esports could now force out an objective. Ice Drake is the eyes on the prize.
At least have the upper hand in terms of dragon stacks, right? KT.RY will not be able to interfere unless Luna's going to be able to sneak his way towards it. It's not going to be allowed, but a little bit alarming that it is Mirbo that got the last hit towards the objective. And KT will just continue on the push.
Yeah, they will continue on the push here. NAOS Esports still on the back foot. They're still on a point wherein they could just get dominated easily with the amount of poke damages that KT.RY has. And once again, eyes on Rattel and eyes on Zero to set up the play. So it will be really difficult for NAOS Esports to really just go in onto the team fights like they used to in the first minute or two into this matchup.
Because Punishments is just so capable by KT.RY to give towards NAOS Esports. Isolation plays. This is what makes this composition of KT.RY really great, right? Infinity. And we mentioned it as well so many times during the drafting phase as well. Right
Nice
now,
arrow.
Acrobat.
Oh,
Okay. That was still nice. Depth chart's gonna be invested too. That's 2 ultimates no longer available for NAOS Esports. I think you have to fall back, but will they be allowed to? Because now KT.RY is just gonna be committing so much with the faction involved as well. And the Ash is now removed from the scene a little bit late here for Calm. He's gonna be on his way to maybe re-engage, but Rattel's just dealing so much damage. And you talked about the poke, Infinity. This time it's working against NAOS Esports. They're going for the claim. The flash could have been invested here by Do. Unable to get Calm, but they got 4.
Right, like KT.RY's draft is balanced in AT, right? They lack in crowd control, sure, but it doesn't matter. They only need Rattel. They only need 0, and now the Nexus is open.
And Calm will attempt, but to no avail. 1 punishment is enough. The ace is gonna come through, and game number 1 for KT.RY.
An amazing showing coming in from one of the strong teams here at the APAC Conference, getting game 1 of this series. Up against NAOS, that was a good showing. I mean, they doubled down on commitment. We have